Hello! Today I'd like to talk to you about how to knit a really great pairing of two different kinds of stitches, and that is two-color brioche knitting with two-color garter stitch. This is a technique I've used in a number of my patterns, including the Brain Tree shawl, as well as a few more that will be coming in the next few months. So to work this technique, we'll start working brioche as normal. So I'm going to start with my pink, which is my color A. And I am going to knit my selvage stitch. How you handle that may be different depending on your pattern. Slip one yarn over and brioche knit, and just work in normal brioche rib across this section. Slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit. Now this is where I'm transitioning between my brioche and my garter stitch. So from here, I'm just going to knit across the rest of the stitches in the pink. Oops, picked up one below here by accident. There we go. So if you see me making a few more mistakes than usual, you might notice a difference. I'm knitting on metal needles, which I almost never do, so I am not as quick with the extra slipperiness. Just a few more stitches here. And I will slip my last stitch with yarn in front, which I like for the two-color selvage edge. Now I'm going to slide my stitches across. And one of the things that works so nicely about this pairing is that you can slide and restart the row with your color B and work in pattern on both the brioche and the garter stitch. So again, you work across as normal in your brioche. Working a slip one yarn over and a brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl. Now my last stitch of brioche will be a slip one yarn over, and then I will purl with my color B all the way across to the end. Almost there. And once again, I will slip that last stitch with the yarn in front. Now to work the wrong side of the fabric, I will start again with my color A yarn or my pink, and I'm going to knit my first stitch for the selvage edge, and then because we were knitting with the pink on the other side, we will purl with the pink on the wrong side. And like with brioche, on those first couple of stitches, you want to be careful not to pull the tension too tight because the row underneath will not be sitting on the needle, so it's easy to over crank your tension on the first few stitches. I'm purling my way across. And that was my last garter stitch, and now I'm into brioche, so I'm going to work a brioche purl, slip one yarn over, brioche purl, slip one yarn over, all the way across. And slip my last stitch with one in front, and again slide to work color B. All right, so we purled color B on the right side, so on the wrong side I'm going to knit color B. And again, I'm careful not to pull that first stitch too tight. Knit my way across. Now, since my first stitch at the border between my brioche and my garter stitch is a knit in my color A, it's easy for it to look like I just need to keep knitting here. I need to be careful to remember to stop and do a slip one yarn over when I'm working on the wrong side. And then brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit. And now I'm back in pattern to finish out the row. And slip one with yarn in front. So you can see it's a pretty easy transition between the brioche knitting and the two color garter stitch, and the two knit together pretty seamlessly. You just have to make sure as you're working that last stitch transitioning between the brioche and the garter stitch that you don't miss a slip one yarn over. But they work very nicely together, and the two color garter can create a very nice neutral background similar to a reverse stockinette for working brioche designs on. One thing to be aware of if you are choosing colors to make a design combining these two techniques is that when you're working two color garter, whichever color you are knitting with will be more dominant. So you can see on the back side of this, the green is much more dominant. On the front side, the difference is not quite as striking, and that is because my green yarn is actually a slightly heavier weight than my pink yarn. It's a worsted and the pink is DK. So the pink wants to come to the front, but because I'm working with a heavier yarn, it doesn't show as well. You can see a little bit better in this fabric from my Braintree shawl that on the right side, this lighter color is more dominant, and on the wrong side, the darker color becomes more dominant. So that may influence how you want to choose your colors when you're combining these two techniques. I hope that this has been helpful and has given you some new ideas for things you may want to try in your brioche knitting. Thank you for watching.